Welcome to the Radiant Woman Unstoppable You interview series. So in the past few weeks and in the coming weeks, I'm featuring women that are out there all around the globe with these soul-led missions to really empower other women to live more happier, healthier, more radiant, more abundant, and really more purpose-aligned lives. And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about helping multi-passionate, busy women to really holistically create radiant physical, emotional, mental, spiritual health, and to really transform their mindset and experience that clarity and that confidence in their purpose. So in my 10th interview of the series, I'm joined by a very special guest, Tandaza, who is all the way over in South Africa near Durban. Tandaza, how are you? Welcome.
Hi, Belinda. I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, that's great. Now, Tandaza is a body healing coach, and we're going to go into that in a little while. And I know that you draw on all sorts of principles like law of attraction, journaling, scripting. And it was funny because I said this before we started recording, but I love that you've got that there in your Facebook bio about I'm a curator of spaces, deco, words, color, and beautiful trinkets. I just love that. And I know following you that you do have beautiful curated pictures in terms of, you know, like just living rooms and bedrooms and like just beautiful pieces all thrown together. So I love, you've obviously got a flair for that. So it's obviously something you're very good at, but, and also I know you're a torrent health nut as well. So, you do a lot, a lot of interest, which is great. So, and I'll talk about that in a moment, but beforehand, I just want to say to everyone that's watching us, just allow yourself this time in this space, 15, 20 minutes, just to be present, just to receive, whatever's coming through today. Because as we know, you might have heard some of this stuff before, but it lands differently at different times, depending on what you need to hear and where you're at. So, if you've got your mobiles there, just pop them on silent, minimize browsers. And as I said, just allow yourself to be present. So, Tandaza, I love what you're doing in the world. So thank you, as I said, once again for joining me. And I just want you to tell us a little bit about what you currently feel your soul-led mission is when it comes to empowering other women.
Okay, thanks, Belinda. I would say my mission really, or my calling to life, is to understand my emotions, develop my emotional mastery, and help other women in realizing that our emotional nature, our intuitive nature is actually such a powerhouse, it's such a powerful tool. Yeah. I've always been a sensitive soul, since a young age. My mom tells stories of, things that wouldn't normally make a child cry. Maybe, asking, are your pants wet? What didn't you say? It will send me into tears. So I've always been a sensitive soul. And I always grew up thinking or feeling that it's a weakness. And it's only in recent years that I've actually really grasped that it's such a powerful tool. So my message really is to allow women to connect to their emotions. They mustn't believe what people say that, being emotional is a weakness. It really isn't. So that's my calling. That's the message that I want to share. And at this point in my career, I'm using emotional mastery for healing the body. But I understand that emotional mastery, is the key to everything, unlocking everything, whether it's financial abundance, attracting the relationships that you want, so I can foresee my career moving into other areas, but at this point in time, it's focused on body healing, using emotional mastery for body healing.
And it's so important. You just touched on so many important things there. But, the first one, as you said about, really being an empath, because I think essentially that's what you were saying. And it's like, you're right, as empaths, we are more sensitive and we do sort of feel the whole range of things. And as you said, as a child, a lot of us aren't really encouraged to be able to express our emotions freely. And I mean, a lot of our parents didn't have emotional intelligence. So they didn't really know what to say or how to hold that space for us. And so as you said, that's where it can be be tricky because
Exactly.
over time, we don't really know how to feel these feelings or express these feelings. And so we do shove them down and suppress them. So I love that you're doing that because, as you said, all these shoved down, suppressed emotions over time, it is creating dis-ease in the body. So I love that,
Yes,
you've
yeah.
seen that connection and you work with it, and that's really in your heart to help other women with. And I know this, then links in with the Louise Hay work. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I think I would say it all began in 2015,
Mm.
where my body practically crashed. I was in a career that was not inspiring. I had known it, I think, from day one, but I had been so scared to make a shift towards a career that I really love. I qualified as a town planner, and I worked in the public sector for about 15 years. But I grew, in terms of the corporate ladder. By my mid-30s, I was in executive management. I owned 2 properties. I owned 2 vehicles. On the outside, it looked like everything was perfect until my body crashed. I was struggling with constipation. I was diagnosed with depression. I had a lot of anxiety at work, despite having all these qualifications and experience, and also weight gain. My weight ballooned by 10 kilograms. So it was a wake-up call for me. I ended up leaving the job. I didn't really have a plan. And that's when I came across the work of Louise Hay, and I signed up for a training program with the Heal Your Life Academy. And that's when I began to understand that, my constipation was telling me that I don't process experiences, my emotions. I realized that I had been holding onto grief for over 20 years. I didn't know I was still grieving. The weight gain was also about unexpressed emotions, the depression, all of those issues and anxiety. It was my spirit telling me that you're not on the right path.
Yes.
So that's how I came to this work of Louise Hay, and it's just been amazing.
Wow. So just on your journey, I know you said it was like 2015 and your body, you just burnt out. Like it was like, were you getting a lot of signs and symptoms along the way that you were kind of just suppressing because it wasn't convenient, because you had to just keep soldiering on, doing the job, being there for the family? Is that what was happening?
Mm, definitely. I
Mm.
think, weight gain has been
Mm.
a constant, up and down.
Mm.
Now I realize whenever I gain weight, instead of looking for the next diet, it's ready to step back and say, what am I not paying attention to? So it had been recurring, as well as anxiety, especially in the workplace. That was recurring, just a sense of uneasiness, in the workplace.
Yes.
So definitely it's a case of not paying attention. Our bodies are always talking to us. Our spirits are always talking to us.
They are. And I think it's one of those things. It's like with anything. If you're going to learn a new language, if you're going to go and learn French, if you're going to go and learn Italian, it takes time to learn the language. And I guess it's also the same with the body. It takes time to learn the language of the body. And it's something, because people will say, oh, I've tried to meditate. I've tried to tune inwards. I've tried to meditate. I've tried to journal. But it's like, it's not just a one time, like I'm going to tune in and see what's there. As we know, it's a lifelong practice and journey, like really getting to, first of all, befriend the body and understand it, and not view it as, because I think also a lot of people view the body as like they're going to battle, like they almost feel the body's betraying them. It's like, oh, why have you got this weight? Like, why are you, it's almost like they feel the body's against them, if that makes sense. Whereas, as we know, it's like, it comes back to a lot of self-love as well, and self-compassion and self-acceptance. Like that's key as well, and a lot of us don't know how to
Definitely.
cultivate that.
No, we're not taught these things. We only learn them once we've made so many mistakes, once we've bashed ourselves and criticized ourselves. So I agree with you. Self-love is really key.
Oh, it really is. So, and why? I mean, you sort of touched on it, but why is all of this important? I know, as you said, like you feel like, for a long time you were in this corporate job and you were getting these little signs and symptoms and niggles, but it took you to get that full burnout before you actually really got onto this path that now feels soul aligned. But, why is it important to you? Like, why do you feel it's in your heart now to be sharing this message and to be out there helping other women with emotional mastery?
I think emotional mastery leads to a sense of empowerment.
Mm.
You know, even if you walk into a room and suddenly you're gripped with fear, instead of criticizing yourself that, you know, what's wrong with you, but it's a moment or a reminder for you to step back and really analyze what's going on, you know, what could be leading to that feeling of fear or feeling of anxiety. So for me, I find it's so empowering. Uh, all women should really be connecting or seeking to listen to their emotions, listen to their bodies, and that's how they'll find empowerment. Instead of, you know, looking outside yourself, looking at the next course that you're gonna go on, or training, or
True.
seeking a professional. Not that I'm saying those are not good avenues, but I think we need to know that it starts with your inner guidance, which comes through emotional mastery.
Yeah, and you're so right. And I think you're right. It's also, as we said, the intention and the energy behind why you're, you know, like, because sometimes, as we know, people, it's great. Like if you're going to a coach or reading a book or doing a course and it feels really delicious, it feels like, oh, this is going to, you know, this is really enlightening and this is exciting. Is it coming from that energy and that kind of intention? Or is it like, I don't know enough, I'm broken, that I'm in lack, something's missing,
Yes.
you need to help me, you've got the answers,
Yes.
you've got the power. And
Yeah.
it's very different, isn't it? And as we know, unfortunately, and I can relate to
Yeah.
that. I know most of my life, I feel like I was in that latter camp where I was like, something's wrong with me, I'm broken, I'm something, you know, there's something missing, you have to help me, you've got the answers, you know, like that's what I can really see in myself. And I, you know, a lot of women, I think, need to really, I think, stop and reflect. Well, hang on, where is my energy? Am I coming from that place of lack, or am I coming from a place of wholeness? And this just feels delicious and it's going to complement where I'm at. You know what I mean? It's, yeah, it's all very, yeah, it's so different, isn't it? Both
Yes.
of those energies. Yeah.
I agree with you totally. You know, it on my journey, we spoke about the Heal Your Life Academy training, but another game changer for me was coming across the law of attraction. And I'd always understood law of attraction about, you know, attracting your soulmate, attracting, you know, the dream car.
Yes.
But when I actually got into it, I understood it was actually emotional mastery.
Correct.
That, you know, those high vibrational emotions like love, joy, empowerment, you know, those are the things that attract everything that you want. Yeah. So I just found it so empowering, and to really to appreciate the energy that I carry, what you're talking about in any given moment. So that
really
was a game changer for me.
And I was going to say, you're right. And that's really what the law of attraction, law of vibration, law, you know, all of that really is, as you said, that's what it's about. It's about what most people aren't aware where their emotions are. So, you know, if they actually stop and pause and think, okay, what am I actually feeling in this moment? Well, that gives you a good indicator as to what you're emitting and consequently attracting.
Yes.
Because, you know, it's funny, I had a session not that long ago. It was with a feminine embodiment coach, because I really know I've been in my head a lot. You know, I've been in the masculine dominant ways. And it was like, as soon as I really tapped into my body, gosh, there was a lot of grief. And I think that's interesting because, you know, as we know, if I've got a lot of grief sitting there and that's resonating out on some level, I'm just going to be attracting more situations that are a match for that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and that's where, as you said, having this level of emotional intelligence, emotional mastery, you know what your emotions are, you know what you're resonating at, what you're emitting, and consequently going to be attracting and matching that back into your reality.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned grief. For me, grief was such a big part of my body crashing, you know, and it suddenly made sense when I looked at them. There's an emotional guidance scale with the law of attraction, and grief is the lowest vibration, you know, that you can feel, the lowest emotion. So then it suddenly made sense why I was attracting the wrong job, while it looked wonderful on the outside, but it was terrible for my spirit, you know. So it was just such a game changer.
Yes, and it's interesting, yeah. And I mean, and that's similar to, you know, there's also the scale of consciousness. I don't know if you're familiar with that, David Hawkins, which it sounds like it's very similar. And I think you're right. And sometimes there's like, I think shame is down there too, you know, shame and the guilt and fear and all those kind of emotions that a lot of us kind of experience. And it's interesting with a lot of the work I do, I'm seeing so many women have this real fear of putting themselves out there, of being seen, of being judged, of being, ridiculed, of being rejected and all that sort of stuff. And when you feel into it, as we said, fear, I mean, it is just an emotion. Like, as we said, if you actually allow yourself to go there and feel it, it passes. If you actually sit in the energy, it'll pass quite quickly. I think they said, is it like 90 seconds if you really sit in it?
Yeah,
it really dissipates very quickly. So, but it's funny, most of us avoid it at all costs. It's like, no, I don't even want to go. I'm not going to give it any energy. No, and it's like, no, if you actually give it energy. And that, I don't know if you do emotional freedom technique. Do you do some tapping as well? Like, is that something you practice?
No, I've heard of it, but no, I haven't studied that.
No, and that's kind of something I find it can be quite useful too, just because it allows, you've got to really be in the energy of it. So, sometimes when I feel like a lot of, just say, I don't know, frustration come up, it's a great one to be able to, tap on these upper meridian points and really just kind of be in the energy, and then it just dissipates. So it's so important, as we said, to just feel all the feelings and just go with the flow. And it kind of comes into that whole masculine and feminine that we just touched on, where the feminine energy really is very much about that, about the feeling and the being and the allowing and the receiving and the intuiting. It's an energy that a lot of us aren't that familiar with. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
So can you also share with me today, what is one of your like go-to processes or techniques or something like that that you could just share with us today that can help women, whether it is just to boost their confidence or to be more calm or to become more unstoppable? Like what's something you can share with us today?
Okay, I'll share the focus wheel, which is a law of attraction tool. Cool. Offered by Abraham Hicks. And really it's designed to lift your vibration, to feel, to move towards the better feeling place, and basically you basically grab a piece of paper, you draw an oval in the middle, and you split it into two. You write what your desire is. It could be something like, I want to feel awesome in my body, or I want to feel better in my body or my skin. And then you begin to write things that support that, evidence of things that support that desire. So, it could be, I put on my skirt this morning and I actually felt, awesome, and you stew in that, that feeling. Yes. For me, my body may not be at the weight I would love, but I love the shape, the form of my body, Yes. So that's something I could write, Yes. It could also be, I've got 3 children. I've got an 8-month-old baby. Yeah. And, sometimes I'm just in wonder and awe of my body, that's carried these 3 babies, Yes. healthy babies, etc. So you basically just go around, drawing arms, like arms of a clock around the oval. And with each item that you write down, you actually feel your vibration lifting. So I just find that such a powerful tool,
Yeah, I love that.
Sometimes we want to focus on the end goal of, I want to be a size 34, whatever it may be. But if you can just appreciate your current status, it really does lift your spirit.
Yes. Oh, that's beautiful. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I know I definitely will try it afterwards, because you're right. Sometimes I think it's just, giving yourself that evidence and that proof, and, that you already have these things. And as you said, like having that attitude of gratitude, because gratitude is such a high vibration, and so even just bringing that into it, like as you said, having gratitude for your body, that you've had 3 beautiful children, and you've gone through that. And then, as you said, like there's always something. And I mean, we're very quick, I think, to criticize parts of our body. Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. But as you said, if you can, even if it's just, I love my smile, I love the sparkle in my eyes.
Yes.
I love the way that, like little things like that. And as you said, it does, you start to, it has that compound effect, doesn't it? All these little things just add up, and as it starts to shift your energy, you're like, and you do start to feel your vibration lifting. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today? Anything else that's on your heart?
I just, I guess it's just emphasizing that, once we connect with our emotions, we have all the guidance that we need in life. So I really encourage women to connect to their emotions everything that we need is inside us. We really don't need to look outside of ourselves, and just take it one step at a time. I think all of us are not where we'd ideally want to be, but it's just one step at a time, and just allowing yourself to be guided by your emotions.
Yes, beautiful. And do you just on
Man,
that? I
thank you
just
so
want to.
much.
Yeah, no, that's all
Belinda, it's
right.
been
Just
great
on that,
chatting.
before you leave, I just wanted to ask you, just in terms of that, how do you kind of tap into your emotions? Is it something that you just like will pause and just kind of like be in the present moment? What am I feeling, or how do you kind of really moment by moment? How do you tap into what your emotion, where you're at emotionally?
For me,
Yeah,
journaling has been
journaling.
the
Yeah,
biggest thing for me.
yeah.
I think since I left employment, it's become almost a daily habit, a daily activity. So for me, that's how I connect to how I'm feeling, where I'm at. Sometimes I don't feel like journaling. I just do a focus wheel, and feel great. Maybe I don't have a lot of time on my hands to journal. So
Yes.
I just do what feels good to me. But journaling has been consistent
Great.
in my life.
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
good. It's funny. I resisted journaling for so long, but when you actually do it, as you said, it is amazing what's under the surface. As soon as you actually just start, and
Yeah.
the first couple of sentences, it might not be much, but the more that you get into it, it's like, oh my gosh, like you start to become aware of all this stuff, like, you're not deserving and you're not, and you're like, hang on, where's this coming from? But it's sitting there, it's sitting there on some level. And as you said, it just gives you, it's like it's just shining a
Yeah.
light and all this stuff that's sitting there under the surface. And it's not
Yes.
conscious to us. It's really there deep in the subconscious a lot of the time. It's just, yeah, wow. It is a game changer if you can. And as you said, don't put the pressure.
And a few minutes later, you've got like 2 pages.
Exactly.
You've written 2 pages before you know it.
That's the thing. Have you heard of
Yeah.
there's a book, The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron. Have you ever heard of that book?
No,
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's quite
what is it
interesting.
about?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's about that. And she actually gets you to do morning pages. And what it is, it's like she gets you every morning to do, I think it's about at least 3 pages, but it's quite interesting. It's just to get you, I think, into the habit of just, writing and actually tapping into the subconscious. But yeah, it's called The Artist's Way. And I came across it a few years
Okay.
back. Yeah, it's quite interesting. But that's sort of a big part of the practice. It's morning pages and it's just writing, whether it is just, I slept like crap, and then as you start writing, other stuff starts coming out. It's as we said, it's quite powerful in a lot of ways. So, but not putting pressure on yourself either, because often we start to get into this, we beat ourselves up almost on some level if we're not doing our morning routine. So it's, as we said, having flexibility.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like that today. I might just, as you said, do the vibration lifting exercise, or I might just go and
Yes.
walk in nature and just allow myself to have gratitude. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So important.
No, it's definitely.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, Tandaza. And I know there's a little bit of a time delay there. So, we're opposite sides of the world. So, but anyway, it's so good to be able to connect with you. Thank you for coming on and being a guest. And I'll put some, if you want to give me any links, and I can put them there in the description so people can get in contact with you and find out. Because I know sometimes you do various courses, don't you? Whether it's scripting or journaling or emotional, intelligence. So, excellent. Yeah. So thank you for that. And I look forward to staying in touch and seeing as you continue to grow and evolve on your journey. It's beautiful. Excellent.
Thank you so much. It's been lovely engaging. I've listened to a lot of your Facebook lives. So it's nice to actually engage with you.
It is.
Thanks
it's
for
beautiful.
the opportunity.
It is beautiful. So excellent. All right. Well, much love, and I'll be in contact soon. Thanks, Tandaza. Bye. Bye.